Hi, plant people, and welcome to the second season of the Plants by Wade Lee podcast. I'm your host, Wade Lee. Do you feel emotionally connected to your plants? As if in the process of caring for them, they as well are caring for you? We will have in-depth conversations with plant experts, authors, entrepreneurs, and plant personalities. Join me as we dig deep and experience the magic of plants. Hi, plant people. Welcome to the second season of the Plants by Wade Lee podcast. Super excited to have Jon from Jumanji Jon Plants.
Hello,
Welcome,
everybody.
Jon.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Wade. I'm super excited to do this too. It's always fun to vent my feelings on the plant community and business in general. So, looking
Right?
forward to this.
Well, that's why we tune in to your lives, because we know we're going to get the real, authentic truth from Jon, which is always great.
Thank you, sir.
Jon, so let's get started. Like, before you had this Jumanji Jon plant empire with your family as you're growing your business, have you always been into plants? Like, growing up as a kid, like, were
I would
plants
say
an
yes.
influence in your life?
I always joke around that because I'm Hispanic. I know I'm one of the whitest looking Hispanic guys out here. But growing up at my grandma's house, she always had plants and like sago palms or different kinds of hibiscus shrubs and trees. She really likes outdoor orchids. So I always had a love for that. And then in my, when I had apartments when I was younger, in my, 18, 19, 20, you could always find my apartment because my patio or my balcony was just jungled out. I just kind of liked the vibe and the aesthetics. It kind of just felt more calming and peaceful to me. So I've always been into plants, but the plants that I sell, I couldn't tell you one of them 5 or 6 years ago. I barely knew them. It started as a hobby, quite honestly. Back in COVID days is when it started. So, yeah, I've always been into plants, definitely. But when COVID hit, I bought a house in 2019, right? It was around April 2019. I bought a house and we put every dollar we had into our house. I mean, I saved up like 5, 6 years worth of savings, put it all down on the house. Overhead went way up because we got a bigger house payment. Now I'm flat broke, but I still love plants. So rather quickly by the fall, I had every plant, like the outdoor plants that you can get at Home Depot, Lowe's, the big box stores. And I had them all, right? I had room outside. And then COVID hit and people started collecting the rare plants.
Right.
And I was hooked. I remember staring at them, like just looking at the colored lights like a kid collecting baseball cards, just like, look at this one, look at that, putting little bubble stones in there. And it grew rather
So
quickly.
awesome.
It was a hobby that I couldn't necessarily afford because we just bought a house, right? I should be paying off bills, but I still would buy plants. And I shit you not, the very first plant I ever bought and made money off was a Calathea White Fusion.
Wow.
And I bought it for $20, 6-inch pot. Split it up into 3 4-inch pots, kept one because I liked it, sold the other two for $20 each. So I kept a piece, got my 20 back, and made 20. And I was like, well, that worked, you know?
Yeah.
And from there, it was just spiraled out of control. I could tell you the second and third plant I sold too, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know, but you're right though, because like people were so hungry for plants and just buying anything and at I mean, I was as well. So,
Me too. I was guilty of it too, and sometimes I still do it to this day. It really started as like, okay, a way to pay for the plants because I like the plants and I couldn't afford to buy all the ones I really want. And also as a way to like literally the first goal was to make like 20, $30 so we can go get ice cream, right? And I made that with the White Fusion. So then I was like, okay, let's try to go out. I think we want to go to the fair. The fair was in town, family of 4. I probably need $300 to go to the fair, right? So I was like, all right, let's see if we can make $300. I did that, and I was like, "Wow, this is great." The one plant that blew me away was a Syngonium albo. I bought it from Lowe's, 6-inch pot, right? And this is early on,
yeah.
early on. $25. Let's call it 30 with tax out the door. I took it home, I hit it with the hose, and I split up each individual stem. There's about 6, 7, 8 stems in there. I made almost $800 off that, off of 30 bucks.
It's
So
amazing.
at that point in time, I was hooked. It was fun. It was a hobby. It was still a little side business. I was actually a building inspector for almost 17 years before I started selling plants. And that's what got me the house. But it took off, man. It took off out of nowhere rather
And
quickly.
you were selling like on Facebook, Instagram. I mean,
Yes, I never did any of the live shows until like maybe a year or two ago, 2 years ago, but definitely started off selling on Facebook groups. And I was
yeah.
part of like, like everyone else, I joined like 25 different Facebook groups, right? I remember one of the groups got mad at me because they said, John, you can't auction plants in here. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And they're like, didn't you read the rules? And I was like, no, I didn't. I joined, I was just excited. I joined 25 plant groups. I didn't really read all the rules. I got, well, you should read the rules before posting. I was like, damn, sorry. At one point in time, this person told me, John, well, I got to go. I'm about to start playing this video game. And I told her, wait a minute, you play video games? And she's like, yeah, haven't you ever heard of such and such game? I was like, fuck no. I was like, I'm 41. I haven't played a video game since like PS2, Grand Theft Auto. I was like, now I know you got more times on your hand, and that's how I know you can read rules. I ain't got time to play video games. That's why I ain't reading no fucking rules. So long story short, I got booted out of the group. And that's when I started my own group. Things went a little bit wild on Facebook land, and then to Instagram land, and then the Palm Street, and then the whatnot. My website. Pop-ups were always fun, but the online stuff has always been just so much easier than doing in-person pop-ups.
Yeah.
So,
What about and how did you get into the more rare plants? I mean, they're not so rare as much anymore. But,
anymore.
yeah,
For me,
but like the monsteras and
the Albo's the one that got me, popularity and honestly made me a name for myself during COVID times. It was just a plant I liked. I think it was really popular. It still is popular. Plants like vanilla ice cream, it's everywhere.
right.
But I personally love the Albo, and I remember I bought my first 4 for $800, so $200 each. I sold 3 of them for $250, so it made my other one $50, right? I was like, cool. I was hooked. I found a source in Japan, my friend in Japan, and I bought 40 of them, and it blew my mind. I made like $4,000 or something, right? And as a side hustle, I was like, dang, $4,000, this is great. And from there, the sky's the limit. I buy 400. I could tell you at one point in time, I bought $25,000 in Albos, and they showed up on a Wednesday night. I had them all sold by Sunday, right? So all were sold by Sunday, and I had them all packed out by the following Wednesday. And that was during Facebook days. So like the first year, I turned that 25,000 into sales on Facebook into 100,000 in sales, made 75,000 in a week. At that point in time, is when I contemplated quitting my career. I was like, okay,
Right.
I could go to work and I make a pretty good living over there, but I'm about to make like 9 months or 6 months worth of salary in 1 week. I was like, I can't go to work anymore. And I stopped going to work. So
Stopped going to work.
crazy, crazy journey. Who would have thought?
Well, I mean, but you're working. I mean, you countless hours. Sometimes I see you, John, and I'm like, buddy, it's time to go to bed. It's time to go to sleep. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. You've been up the past 24 hours selling. Like, it's insane. It's
100%. I feel I work more than I ever did in my inspecting business. And then I own the inspection business too. It's like a subcontractor to the city. So I still work for myself. And let's say with the inspecting business, I go to work and then I come home and I make some invoices, some paperwork, right? Here, the work is at home. I can go live. I can do invoices, but then I got plant care to take care of. The plants grow. The hardest thing for me is to turn it off, turn work off. So I do work more than ever. And now with the current plant economy, and it was a trend, so it was due to come down. But where it's currently at, it's definitely a grind and more to a normal 9 to 5. But I still have to remind myself that I'm blessed. I'm at home. I sell plants. I have slow mornings. I always try to remember that. I have slow mornings. That's very valuable. In the morning, if you wake up and you don't have to rush out the door like 6:37 or be somewhere by like 7 o'clock like I did for 17 years, it's so peaceful to just wander around. And maybe it's 9:30. I'm like, God damn it, I'm hungry. What am I going to do? Starbucks,
right.
McDonald's, or make something? It's like It's still a blessing, but we work more hours than we ever did. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I don't think people realize that. So
Yeah. What is your favorite plant in your collection?
favorite plant. By over the years, I'm pretty jaded. I used to have a couple plants that were my favorite. I get a lot of joy, even just the plants filtering through my hands when I get mass amounts. I'm gonna have to think about it. I'm like
Yeah,
none.
yeah.
I have an
Is
albo from my friend in Japan that I grew from a cutting. I'll keep that one. I like that.
yeah,
A fiddle leaf fig, a variegated fiddle leaf fig, but
yeah,
nothing too
that's
sentimental
beautiful.
anymore.
Yeah, is there a plant that you're on the search for that you don't have at this moment?
You know, I'm kind of a hater of the rare and ultra rare pricey plants. Sometimes I always feel the price will come down. So there isn't much I want. I like that devil's backbone. I like to call it the devil's butthole, the Monstera's devil's butthole. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind that one, but honestly, I don't give a shit. Variegated adipopens, a variegated squam. I got a variegated squamiferum. I don't really care anymore either. It's
Yeah.
really hard. I still love my classic albos and a couple large form monsteras I got, but there isn't much that I'm on the hunt for anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't think. No, crazy.
What would be your advice to someone who you know, has this love and passion for plants and are tired of their 9 to 5 and ready for something new and change? What would, like, for a small business owner, what would be your advice?
Probably go to dental school and don't sell plants. No, I don't know. Honestly, I always say one thing I could say if you want to stand out amongst the crowd, because there's a lot of plant sellers out there and you have a lot of options. I just always say be yourself and be genuine. Don't try to put on some persona that you're not, or don't try to bullshit people with a fake smile, and just be honest. Some people sometimes I see a lot of, if you want to talk financial stuff, a lot of people, let's say they bought a plant for $20, they got to start it off at 20, 25, but sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit. Now I understand you don't got to start it off at $1. I'm a little crazy, but sometimes maybe start it off at 15 if you
Yeah.
pay 20 just to get people to the board. So you got to be a little risky. Business is risky, right? So you got to risk it a little bit. Maybe it generates some fun, generates some buzz. So be yourself, be unique. Don't try to be honest. Like I see people selling like a ZZ leaf, and they want to tell you, John, it's easy to propagate. Like, yeah, tell them it's easy if you got 6 months of patience. Like we all know it's easy if you can set it in the corner and not kill it for 6 months. But that's what I mean. Just be honest. Don't oversell a product, and don't be like, no, this is easy. You can root this when you yourself haven't done it and you know it takes forever. So be yourself, be honest. Don't be afraid to risk it a little bit, and have fun. Make some games. So
Yeah. You have regular plants in your collection. Like, you're just not a dealer. You also have a collection of your own.
I do, but most of my plants, people come to my greenhouse because a lot of it's so well rooted, and there are a lot of mother plants. Most of it's majority mother plants that I've taken a bunch of cuttings, and they go, John, what's for sale? And I say everything's for sale for the right price.
Right.
So anything's for sale. I'll sell you a whole tub of 20 albos that are connected to each other if you want. I'll even help you carry it to the car. I do have a bunch of plants, but like I said, I get a little bit of joy nowadays from just having the plants here, walking through, getting a really nice plant, selling it to a customer, and seeing the joy that they get. It brings me joy and it makes me excited. But becoming a seller, I would say this one caution: be prepared. It will lose a little bit of the luster and the joy that you first had just being a collector. Like, I don't get that giddy feeling anymore staring into these tubs of expensive plants anymore. It's fun. I look at them, but like I could tell you, like, maybe it's the ADHD in me or something, but it's like I lost a little interest in it. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. From selling so much, I become a little. I think I need a vacation, Wade. I think I need a
Yeah,
vacation.
right. In your journey of becoming a entrepreneur selling plants, did you ever take a big hit, like buy a big bulk and none of them lived, or
Yeah,
that's,
yeah, yeah. Oh man,
yeah,
I was
that's
in a
the growing
live.
pains.
Definitely. I was in a live the other day, and it was another like collector, a customer or whatever, and someone else's live, and they were talking about how much money they've killed in plants in their career. And one girl's like, man, I've killed 300, this and that, whatever. And I started going down the list, and I'm like, all right, well, I bought a ficus for 8,500 from Japan one time, and it was 8,500. I killed that after selling the cut $6,000 there. I've killed like $8,000 in TCs. Long story short, I tallied the number up easily 30, 40, $50,000 in plants I have killed. You know, if you
Yeah.
count importing this, easily $50,000. So yeah, a lot of growing pains, a lot of learning curves. Some of them I'm still feeling the effect of. You know, I remember going to Florida 2 or 3 years ago and spending $50,000 on plants, you know, and three of them could have cost me 20 grand, just three plants, you know, and then 6 months later they went from 8 grand to 1,500, and you're like, holy shit, you know, and then from
Yeah.
1,500 to 500. So that's why I stay away from the ultra expensive, unless you know you got extra money, or unless you're a collector and you're buying it for a collector. But I don't buy expensive stuff as a business investment to think that I'm going to flip and make money on. It
Yeah.
never happens. It will drop so hard you'll never get your money back. So anyone that's burnt your money on the plants, don't feel bad. I'm up to $50,000 at least in killing and burning plants and killing them, you know. So definite learning curve.
Ugh. And you drive a green Lamborghini. This is real life.
No, no, no. I wish I had the green Lamborghini. I have had the green Lamborghini when I went to Florida. It was a rental, but it was one of the funnest rentals. Fun story about the green Lamborghini, the Urus. It's when I went to Florida for the Aeroid show. I told the rental company, look, I need a bright green Lamborghini. I want the SUV so I can put plants in the back. I got there and they said, hey, it's not ready. And I said, what the fuck? And they said, we have this V12 Aventor, right? It was fast. And I was like, yeah, but it's black. I need the green one. That's the whole point, you know? Long story short, they got one wrapped. They got it for me. I got the green Urus. It was not cheap to rent, and it was a great weekend. Right, had it one of the best cars I've ever drove around for a while. Even the last day, I was like over the mileage. Like you can only go 250 miles or something on it. They're going to start tacking on the dollars.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I didn't get this for the whole weekend, then not drive it this last 50 miles. Fuck it, let's go. So we did it. I go back. It's a bunch of millennials that run this thing, and they had a deposit they were supposed to refund me, right? That they keep. Long story short, I got home about 10 days later. I got the whole thing refunded. The entire cost was thousands and thousands of dollars to rent this car. It was honestly like $1,500 a day, plus
Wow.
deposit, plus gas and extra mileage and things like that. So that was back during COVID times, you know, when Jumanji Jon things were like, when, you know, I sell $100,000 worth of plants in a week, you know. You only live once. I'm not crazy enough to buy the Lambo, but I did drive the Lambo for a while. It was a lot of fun. You know, every time I
That's
went to
so
Florida,
cool.
I got fun rental cars. Range Rover Super Sport. I've had an M3, an M4, a big old 7 Series. I lived it up a little bit in the rental car department every time I went to Florida. You know,
That's awesome. Well, you have to while you're in
good
Florida,
times.
especially in Miami.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
That's what you were
and now
doing.
I'm
You
a little
were
bit more
going to the
responsible.
plant shows.
Yeah, I didn't go this year. I don't even know if I went last year. Quite honestly, I prefer to stay home. I like the plant shows, but I'm so busy with business, it's really hard to get away. I just miss socializing. I wouldn't mind seeing everyone and saying hello. It's just so far away, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
from
for sure.
California,
Yeah,
long
yeah.
way.
It is a long. It's cross country.
We got a lot of
Yeah,
plants, 16 cats here, you know. So
yeah. And talking about cats, you are s- starting a cat sanctuary.
yeah, yeah, you know. And I was gonna start it. Obviously, we've been doing crazy here. Like currently, there's 15 cats here. We adopted one yesterday. One got adopted out. So there's 15 cats. But that's the I think that's maybe the 15th or 16th one that's also that found homes outside of my house. So I don't know. We're into the 20 something, almost 30 cats saved and rescued so far. I couldn't do it without help from the plant community. Out
Yeah.
of everyone that's come to adopt a cat, everyone but one person has been someone from the plant community. So, and honestly, the plant community has been unreal with the amount of help with donations financially and plant food, or cat food, and toys for the cats. The cats over here are living it up. So it is kind of a dream. I do love the cats. We are contemplating moving to Alabama and cashing out of California. If we do that, I'll still sell plants, but I'll have a lot more room for plants, and then I can build a huge cat sanctuary. And I want to also, you know, start a legit nonprofit for the cats, a whole nother
Yeah.
business. So it'll be the cats, Jumanji Jon. Maybe people could come over and hang out. I want to start my own tea business too, Jumanji
Really?
Tea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've heard you. I've heard you saying this on lives.
so yeah, I
Yeah.
want to start my own tea. We'll just have three basic flavors, right? The spicy tea, Jumanji tea. We'll have a chill tea and like the everyday tea. Maybe we get CBD tea or something later on. But the
Yeah.
cats, the tea, my jungle, and just relax in Alabama. So it sounds like a dream. I'm looking forward to it. But I'm born and raised here in California, so it's a lot of moving parts, a little bit scary. But I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to
and
it.
it's a very, very different life.
I
California
agree.
life to Alabama.
I agree.
I lived in Alabama for many years.
Where you at right now, Wade? Where do you live right now?
Florida, Jacksonville.
Lucky ass you. I want my
Yeah.
family to go to Florida so bad. Everyone, the furthest I can get them to go is Alabama. But I want to go to Florida just because the plants are that much more accessible for me.
Yeah.
But I'll chill with Alabama. My brother's there. And then now it's just like, hey, book a hotel Friday night from
Yeah.
Alabama to Florida, get in the hotel, get up Saturday, fill up my van with plants, go shopping all day Saturday, and drive home, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It would be
I know a lot of other sellers buy from, a handful of spots in Florida, and it's a pain in the ass for me to pay shipping to get it over here, and it's a lot more fun to be able to be there in person and cherry pick them and,
see. Yeah.
talk to the owners and rub elbows and get the best deals and things like that.
Yeah.
Looking forward.
So the plant shows, even in California, do you attend them or not really anymore?
Nah, it's really hard to get me out of the house. Occasionally I'll go if it's a friend who's running it. Like I'll give shout out to Anna from Ginger's Greenhouse or Aaron with Aaron's World, good friends of mine. I'll do their pop-up events. I'll go to them. But generally to get me to go anywhere else, it's pretty damn hard. I don't leave the house. I'll do the events, but I'd rather go to the events and just be a personality there. Or one thing I like to do is go there and I don't want to bring my plants. I don't like dragging out all my stuff over there. I'll go and maybe bring like 10 things. I like to go do an auction at these events, and other vendors can bring me their plants, and then I do the public auctions. But I also like to include either the Palm Street platform or whatnot. So the online people battle against the in-person people, and it makes it for a fun, chaotic kind of environment of bidding,
Yeah.
I've done it once or twice. So if I'm going to do a pop-up, I like to do that. But to do a general pop-up locally or anywhere and bring my own plants to sell, like full on scale, heck no, I'm pretty lazy. Wait, I just chill at home and do it online. It's so much easier virtually,
Yeah, yeah. Well, and so many plant people are introvert. Like I'm such an introvert. Like I go to these plant events and I like stand in the corner like a weirdo. Like it's so weird. I have such a hard time. I'm like, oh, I'm here for the plants, but there's people here. So
I would have been overwhelmed. I heard that the show in Florida was super packed on Saturday. I would have been a little overwhelmed, just too much noise and anxiety. Don't get me wrong. I like to socialize. Like I like to talk to people, but then it's a certain point it overwhelms me and I might clam up and I might be kind of grouchy, but I know I got to put on the happy face, and say hello. Right. So I enjoy it though. Don't get me wrong. I would have been fun to go. If I had the time, I definitely would have went. If I didn't have kids and a bajillion plants and 16 cats and a dog and everything else and all the responsibilities to take care of, I would have enjoyed going for sure, but definitely anxiety, people anxiety, too much.
Let's see. What are some of your holy grail plant products that you use
that I live and die by? I'll give people this. I keep it simple. A lot of people, when I first started, I made my own soil mix, right? My Jumanji mix. And I'd put like perlite, orchid bark, charcoal, maybe a couple leca balls, a handful of Fox Farm soil, maybe some slow release fertilizer. So now I'm at 6 items. I don't even remember. I had like a 7th item in there. Just like I said, I got all 7 of these in my proper mix.
Yeah.
And then now over the years, at least for me in aeroids and monsteras, philodendrons, syngoniums, I generally just go with freaking perlite and moss for the win. I'll tell you that. Now I'm about 5 years in, a little over 5 years of screwing with the plants and the aeroids. There's been times when I've had like 100% perlite mix and I'd be like, all right, it needs just 5% orchid bark and a little 5% Fox Farm soil. And I'll test it, right? Or whatever it may be. And I'll still be 90% perlite with a little bit of stuff. But the 100% perlite, in my experience, will outgrow and outroot the other stuff.
That's
so
amazing.
I live and die by perlite for sure. It kind of keeps it as a nice base too. Like, it's not, you can't, the Fox Farm won't be, it could be too rich, could be too wet. It works great for me. I think key though, for me at least, is a very humid environment, humidity. If you don't have it 70, 80% humidity all the time, it does dry out really fast, but I don't mind it. I love perlite. I used to hate moss in the beginning, but now I can prop all my imports with moss. I could throw 20 elbow cuttings in a big plastic bin of moss and get them all to root, all 20 of them. Moss, perlite, dang, it's all you need. Moss,
Yeah.
perlite, and Mother Nature, I don't use none of that wax to cover the tip, of a cut plant. Maybe what's that mycorrhizae, that fungi root stuff. One time
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
so it's expensive, but I buy that. Sometimes I sprinkle it in the perlite. You know, I don't know if that really helps. Another product is people ask me, what about fertilizer?
Hmm.
I have all the fancy stuff, the Botanicare, the Cow Mag. I have all that stuff too. But one thing I use a lot because I give it to my outdoor plants, my hibiscus, my roses, and shit like that. And some people don't know it. I'll tell you what, my albos don't know the difference. They've never complained. Miracle Grow, the blue Miracle Grow that you put in the hose of your sprayer.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, you could even do it with a sprayer, or you can get a big plastic bin and dump some of that blue shit in there. I'll dump the blue stuff in. I'll put some Super Thrive. I'll do all that, and then it will be strong. And then I'll water a couple things that aren't as fancy or not as finicky, and then I'll fill it up again. It will get diluted. Water the albos. But I'll tell you what, none of my plants have ever bitched and said, "John, why you give me that shit?" They all seem to love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the plant does not know you gave it fucking Miracle Grow. Whatever. So
Yeah.
fertilizer, anything, perlite and moss. That's it, man.
That's awesome.
Makes it
What
easy.
what are you finding that plant consumers are looking for when they're coming to your lives and asking? Like, what plants are people really wanting right now?
The smart ass answer or the real answer? No, the smart ass answer is wherever I can pull an elbow out of. Sometimes they're usually entertained by that. I could find them in a lot of random spots.
I love that.
No, I don't know, Wade. Let's see. Currently trending right now, I think we're on the downtrend though, is obviously really popular is Hoyas.
Yeah.
Hoya is super popular right now, but if I was like Confucius, Jumanji say by spring next year, Hoya trend probably be coming down, and there's gonna be a lot of people that pay 200 to 400 for their Hoya, and they're gonna be $50 and be like, "What the hell was I thinking?"
Hmm.
Hoya's super popular. Anthuriums, I think, were before the Hoyas were still very popular, but they kind of calmed down now. I think they got crossbred 7 different ways from Sunday, and it's not so thrilling anymore. It's not like, ooh, a Carla across this, and you're like, well, wait a minute, it's been crossed 7. It lost its special. It's not so special anymore. I feel.
Right.
So Anthurium trend kind of whatever, but it's still popular. Hoya trends up, but coming down. Monstera, Syngoniums, Philodendrons definitely burned out, but I'll sink with that ship. I love those plants. Those are my 3. I'll go down with the
Yeah.
ship if those are the main 3. For coming up next, Alocasia is still popular. I think it's all the same flavors, Wade. I think they just come in trends and
Come in
flows,
trends and goes. Yeah. Yeah.
It comes and goes. So we had the Anthuriums, we had the Hoyas. I'm hoping the Monsteras and Philodendrons come back in the spring. And you know what? It probably will. And the tissue cultures. Tissue cultures still, as a seller, I think it's a great way to maybe have your business survive. There is a learning curve on tissue cultures. Like I told you, I probably killed like $8,000 of TCs in the beginning. But it's a great way for a seller to survive because they're low cost, and if you can grow them out, high reward. And same thing as a consumer. Even if you're buying it at the retail side, it's still cheaper than buying it in the 4-inch pot or the 6-inch pot. So you still get a
Right.
deal. If you find the right seller, they're not going to gouge you so much. I'm not going to lie. I bought a tissue culture for $250. It was a pink nobilis alocasia. I saw another seller selling one the same size for 2,200, and I was like, "Whoa!" Huge profit, right? Almost
Yeah.
1,800, $2,000. But I can't gouge that hard. I
Right.
can't.
Right.
That's too much. $2,000 on 250. I would have a heart attack. I couldn't sleep at night doing that to someone. So I like to let people determine the price. It ended up going for $1,000, but I start the auction off lower, and I let people bid it up. But that's what I'm saying though. TCs, there's a lot of room. You could even buy that $1,000 TC from me and maybe sell it for 1,500 if there's other people paying 2,200.
Right.
But this was 6 months ago, 9 months ago, and prices change rapidly.
So rapidly. So I mean, there was a time I was like, I'll never be able to afford a tie, and now they're $9.99 at Walmart. So
I want a philodendron eastelmanii, however you pronounce that. I don't have one of those yet. I had one before. I paid like 12 grand for a big one, but I chopped it all up and sold it during the big days. I've never had a personal one. That's one plant I personally wouldn't mind. But I also bought a philodendron Orlando. I don't, and I don't think too many people have that. But dude, I
Yeah.
paid 6 grand for that, and then I paid 2,500 for another one, and they're both dead. You know, forget that. Never again.
I know my dying train was coming fast, and I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna plant these in the yard. I live in Florida. This
And they
makes the
should do good.
best sense. Oh yeah, I mean things that like cut down to just the nubs. I was like, are now like
And it lived?
huge.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
huge
yeah,
because you got
huge,
that
huge.
magical Florida. That's
Yeah,
nice, man. Dang.
yeah, elbows and my my elbow I got from
Jealous.
you. I put out there.
I'm jealous, Wade. I'm
Yeah,
jealous.
yeah, it's awesome. I'll send you some pictures of my monsters because same goes. I mean, I love GT, but I use Miracle Grow often and just I probably overdo the blue stuff, but I just and
Me too. Just
my
blast it with the blue stuff, man.
yeah, it's just monstrous. Like my monsteras are huge, so
It
it's
works
cool.
great, honestly. And if anything, I probably don't fertilize often enough. So I don't mind hitting it hard sometimes, but
Yeah,
just because I'm overwhelmed with every other aspect of the business, I don't have as much time to, one-on-one care with my plants like I used to
yeah,
when it was smaller scale. Now that's mass scale, hit it with the hose and water everything.
yeah. Do you have a team that helps ship, pack, all that?
It's me, Lacey, my fiance, and then Kelsey, who lives down the street, our friend. She's actually here right now. The invoice stack today, look at this is pretty weak, honestly. This isn't that bad. Usually it's a lot thicker, but that's the invoices for this week. But I'm not gonna lie, this is like only like a third of this is Plant Story, which ain't shit because normally I sell 10 times more on Palm Street or whatever it is. And a lot of that's Whatnot. But it was a little bit slower week, but Kelsey will handle most of the packing. How it works is we print out the invoices. Lacey goes and lines up the plants to the invoices. Kelsey packs them all. Occasionally, I go out there and help pack a random one or two, and then that's it. We drop them all off or make labels. And between the three of us, that's it. There is no big old crew. Back in 2021, 2020, I may have had 4 or 5 people that worked, and it was like chaos,
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
go back to that same week I told you I sold 100 grand in a week. I literally like took a step back and it was like slow mo. There was like 4 employees. One of my employees brought their friends over just to roll joints up for us, So we had someone rolling joints in the corner, 4 other people packing plants, and I just taken a step back and I was like, "It's all
This
downhill from
this
here." Is what I literally thought.
yeah.
Like, there's no way. How does it get any crazier than this? We're all over here eating sushi during COVID. Everyone's freaking out. Like I ain't got no toilet paper, and I'm like, sushi for everyone. Sushi for everyone. Having great times. It was crazy fun, man. It was crazy times during COVID. So, but yeah, right now it's only 3 of us. Fun.
Yeah. What do you have coming up next? Like any new projects or anything that you could talk about?
I'm working. I shot a pilot for a TV show. They came over here 6 months ago, and they shot 4 or 5 hours of footage with me and Lacey over here. And then about a month or two ago, I shot some more footage downtown at the downtown LA Flower Mart, and it's me, Harry Mayesh, and 2 other people. I'm drawing a blank right now. Brandon, the plant guy, and one other person. There's 4 of us, and like I said, we shot the pilot. They're splicing it all together, editing it right now. Harry told me that supposedly it sounds really funny, and they're really excited about it. I got to be myself. They literally, when I went downtown, they put like a bunch of weed in front of me and gave me the bong and said be yourself and interviewed me and asked me a bunch of questions. So it was fun. We'll see how that goes. That could be as far as it goes, and that's the end of
Yeah.
it. But maybe some network picks up this plant show.
Yeah.
So that's in the works. Maybe that will come through next year. We'll see how that goes. Other than that, just going hard on tissue cultures over here. I have been working on a big deal with getting 10,000 white monsters over here. So, and that's a 6-figure deal. So the logistics on that's been a real pain in the ass. And then after that, I'm looking for other avenues to diversify and get different plants and things. In between all that, also maybe move to Alabama. So TV
Right.
show, Alabama, six-figure plant deal on one stupid plant. So I need to diversify after that. So I'll diversify with some new plants. And hopefully we do it all in Alabama with the cat sanctuary in the background. So there's a lot going on
Yeah,
over here, you know?
that's awesome. I love that, John. And everyone can find you on Jumanji Jon Plants on Palm
Instagram.
Street,
Yeah, what
Instagram.
the hell? What is it? Palm Street. It used to be Plant Story. Palm Street. You can find me under there, Jumanji Jon Plants. You can find me on Instagram, Jumanji Jon Plants. You can find me on Whatnot. It's the Jumanji Jon Plants. Sorry to confuse everyone. I was just a smart ass. And I went, long story short, I went to go make my Whatnot account and it said Jumanji Jon Plants is not available. I was like, man, who's the son of a bitch that took my name? So I put a the in front of it. And then I realized later that it was me who took my name. I just forgot my email for the other one. So to find the real Jumanji Jon Plants on Whatnot, it's the Jumanji Jon Plants. But basically everywhere. Facebook, Jumanji Jon Plants, Buy Sell Trade BST group. But that's kind of a ghost town. Anywhere, you can find me at your local Home Depot, wherever you want. Taco shop, I'm there. Donut shop, anywhere, you guys. Just follow me.
Local dispensary.
Local dispensary. Exactly, you guys. All the garden shops, anything green, you know?
Right. Awesome, John. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you,
I hope
Wade.
to do this again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I had a great time chatting with you. So thank you for making it easy. And it was a lot of fun, man. I'm looking forward to seeing this. So
Of
thank you,
course.
Wade.
Thank you. Talk to
Take
you later,
care.
buddy. Bye.
Bye-bye.